Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. I'm back with the one, the only, and legendary investor, Laura Morby. How you doing, Laura?
I am doing great.
Hey, one of the things I think about when people ask me about Laura is she's always optimistic. She's smiling. She's a go-giver. She helps people, and I'm going to lean into that a little bit right now. I read a scary article this morning. About 55% of Americans are pessimistic about the next 20 years.
Okay.
And I think that's interesting because when you look out 20 years, it gets out of the whole political game, right? Because it's out of a presidency, it's multiple. I mean, it's you kind of remove the short term, I hate the president idea. But when I think about 55% of the people being pessimistic, that scares me because what I've followed for the last 30 years is the consumer.
Mhm.
And consumers, generally speaking, if they're optimistic, they're spending, they're out investing, they're doing things. But to see that 55% of the people now are pessimistic, that is that's frightening. So I was wondering what you would think of that, and then we'll talk about you and I because we definitely aren't in that camp. What do you think?
So I think that I could probably speak on this for probably like 2 hours. I could probably hold a seminar on this. So my parents are, my dad is a product of a single parent mom who was born in 1917. So she lived through the Great Depression. And
You can, if she wants to get on screen, it's okay. Corbin, how you doing, Corbin? Oh wow! Oh, hi, Corbin.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Never know what she wants.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, and then he lived in, I can't even tell you the town in Arizona because it won't mean anything to you unless you're from Arizona. But he lived in Dudleyville, Arizona. His dad was a road worker before he left after being abusive and alcoholic. And sorry, that was grandpa. We get a Sunday morning grandpa call. And then, my mom lived in El Paso, Texas, and she lived in a 2-bedroom house, and all of her sisters lived in the garage. And she came from an abusive household as well. So when I say this, I'm not saying this as a dig into my parents at all, because I look and even now I'll tell them how much I love them and how grateful I am for creating as beautiful of a world as they did for me. But they had no example on how to be good parents, and they had no example on how to be business owners. But my dad built a construction company, and he, we lived in beautiful $1 million homes growing up, and I didn't want for anything. But my parents are by nature extremely pessimistic.
Really?
Very much, and they're really worried about the state of the world, and they're really worried about everything. They're worried religiously, politically, they're just worriers. And so when you grow up in a household like that, you turn into a worrier as well.
We're playing. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So when I met Pace is actually how I started to kind of break out of that, because that's kind of my natural go-to is to be nervous.
Oh, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, and I think that comes from my parents, and
Sure.
it comes from, being really young and seeing 9/11 and, going through war where, a lot of people that I went to high school who went to the Iraq war. And so a lot of people that I know have died or were there.
Oh, wow.
PTSD, and then seeing them come back, and it's almost like getting out of jail and coming back and trying to assimilate into society. So I know a lot about that from friends who have done that. And then, the recession happened right as we were getting out of college, which is supposed to be a time where it's really easy to get a job. And so I know a lot of people have degrees who are nannies or flight attendants and stuff like that. And then, we have, just a couple weird things. And then you get this pandemic, and it kind of makes people think, it makes people numb, but it also makes people think that, oh, it's just another thing around the corner. So I think maybe my generation is a little bit jaded, I guess. But then when you actually think about it, and you do think about, the decisions that people are making, the economy's doing great. No one's too scared to go buy anything or go buy a house or, have a family or make life decisions. So although everything crazy is going on in the world, it's not like people are like, well, I'm not going to have a child because this world is too crazy. So I can see people feeling pessimistic about the next 50 years. But personally in my life, what I have seen is I have seen my parents lose their shorts in the last recession, and my dad being in his 70s at that point,
Wow.
and a pessimist and saying, this is what is happening, which he's not wrong when he says this is what's happening, but he's utilizing it as a, like, I'm done. Like, I don't have it in me anymore. I can't keep going. And then I've seen Pace at the same time go through something crazy and work his guts out and create his own, as you had said earlier, you create your own luck and that creates your own reality. And I've seen amazing things happen when you are just positive and you say, okay, it was just money, let's keep going. And you keep going. And that's the thing I think that people think with Pace is like, oh, it's easy, or you must have been born into the right family. No and no.
Mm.
And all these things come naturally to you. And I do feel as though he is blessed with some, amazing qualities and traits that, some of us just aren't. But it's not like he doesn't work on all of it and hasn't had moments of, self-doubt and fear and even pessimism, and he just pushes them down. And the thing that does the best is he's consistent.
Mm.
And of course you can't be consistent without having motivation, and you can't have motivation without being hopeful and optimistic. So
yeah.
Don't be like my dad and give up. You're afraid of the state of the world, or you're afraid of a president, or you're afraid of a pandemic. You've got to keep going and keep working hard. And that's the thing that you have to do, is every day you have to get up and you have to keep working on whatever you're doing. Even if it's bad, even if you just lost your shorts, you got to keep going.
Yeah. So. Yeah. The one question I want to ask by listening to that. So first off, thank you very much. I think a lot of people watching this can relate to that cycle, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of outlined it really well. I'm curious. So you came into the relationship with Pace kind of naturally leaning towards pessimism, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just given your family experience. Mm-hmm. Would you say, I'm curious, I have no idea how you're going to answer this. You've been with Pace how long now? 12 years? How long? 12 years. Okay. Over those 12 years, can you feel yourself turning, now you're more optimistic, kind of willing to work through it? Or do you always carry that baggage from, 25 years or whatever it is of growing up sort of pre-Pace? Can it change? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I think it's almost like a default, like it's like your computer programming.
Yeah.
But I think it has to do a lot with like what's happening in life too. So like if things are for the most part going well and something happens, I'll hear my parents say something like, oh my gosh, this is really bad, and we need to be careful about this, and I'm worried about this. And I'm like, oh, it's no big deal.
No big deal.
This will not be a problem in a couple of months. Like, I'm not worried about it. But when things are going bad, it is hard for me to be like, have that conversation with myself. And I'll have it with myself because I know it's true, because I've seen it be true. But it's hard for me to get over the anxiety of the what ifs. And the thing is the what ifs aren't real, and it's the future isn't real. And so if you take the time to just make yourself sick about the what ifs, guess what you're also not doing? You're not working on moving forward. You're
exactly
not working on the future at all. You're just, and I'm not even touching on manifesting and what you're putting out into the universe that you're expecting to happen, but it's just interesting.
Yeah. Hi, Corbin. How are you? Oh, you're so cute. Is she going to go swimming later? Is that a swimsuit or is that a leotard for gymnastics?
This is a leotard.
Okay. Very cool. So that was a great conversation.
Okay, no swimming anymore.
I'm sorry?
She said no swimming anymore. It's raining here.
So. Oh, it's raining. Oh my God. It rains in Arizona? How's that possible?
been raining for like a few days, kind of nice.
Oh, watch
Yeah.
out for flash floods. Be
Yeah.
careful. That's great. So this conversation's been a lot of fun. And again, I think that last point about if you come into a situation and bad things happen, you can let yourself get pessimistic, which basically means you, in my opinion, you retreat from the problem. The problem doesn't go away. You simply retreat, which means you're not working on it. I went, yeah, I think in the next video, we'll talk about some life events that happened that has become fuel. But yeah, I'm generally optimistic, and I think it's just more enjoyable life. It allows you to keep moving forward. It allows you to get, resolve the problem, frankly, because we all have them.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, that's another thing that's nice to keep in mind. It's not nice, but like everybody has pain and things that they're going through, and that helps you with, someone's not kind or someone is actively like messing with you.
Oh yeah.
In a way, if you have someone who's currently suing you, just need to know like it's just because they're hurting. So
yeah. Well, do me a favor. How can people follow you or reach out to you to buy some property in Arizona?
my phone number is 480-717-2070, and my Instagram's Laura Wannabe No Spaces.
Very cool. One day Corbin's going to have her own Instagram because she's just that cute.
She probably could teach everybody in a couple of years.
Thank you very much, Laura. This has been fun.
Okay, thanks.